Okay, let's continue. So we have the bubble map with the size representing the revenue and the color representing the profit margin. And we were able to get the profit margin correctly at different aggregation levels, right? So this is the country level, state, and this is the city level. Now, when the map is selected, if I go to Format Visual, Bubble Layer, Colors. So, okay, before I do that, let's add a slicer actually. Okay, and let's put country over here. So now if you select one country, it will focus on that area only. So you see, these are the cities in Netherlands. These are the cities in Germany. So if you put Netherlands, let's say, and Germany. Okay. So for example, okay, Germany on its own. Yeah, so it's like that. Netherlands on its own, it's like that. If you put Germany and Netherlands at the same time, so what's happening? These colors, as you see, it changes the gradient, okay, takes shape based on the values it sees based on the selection we have. So this is filtering, right? Basically, I'm saying disregard any other country, only take into account Germany and Netherlands. And the lowest profit margin here, city, the city with the lowest profit margin, make that orange color. The city with the largest profit margin, make that proper blue color, and then anything in between, scale it and then put the color accordingly, ranging from orange all the way to blue. That's why I pay attention. So when only when only like Netherlands is selected, you see a few blue colors there. So these are within Netherlands, these are the good cities, the blue ones. The orange ones are not good at all. When you add Germany though, even those blue ones here, right? You see they become like they change, go towards orange a bit. You see this was like nicer blue, it's now less blue. Okay. So basically the orange intensity in Netherlands increased. Why is that? Because Germany's cities has much better value compared to Netherlands. So this is comparative. Okay, the coloring will change based on your selection. If you selected all of the countries here or more countries, you see, um, let's choose the which one was that? United Kingdom was pretty good and France was also pretty good. You see, now Netherlands is a bit more orange because comparatively, when these are included, Netherlands is not doing very well. But on its own, Netherlands was not that bad. There was at least a few blue cities there. So this coloring will change based on the selection. Okay, it will take into account whatever is selected, and then the worst city there, or the worst point, worst location is orange, the best location is blue, and then it will scale in between. That's what gradient means, right? So we need to basically, if you're selecting countries like this, and if you want to make better sense out of the different, you know, different countries, we need to standardize this. How can we do that? Well, when the map is selected, go to Format Visual, go to Bubble Layer, go to Colors, hit FX. So this was our rule here, right? We are using PM measure. Lowest value is orange, highest value is blue. Now, instead of that lowest value, let's make that custom and let's make the same thing for highest value as well. So let's say, for example, let's say minus 0.5. Okay, so if you're losing 50% or more as a profit margin, we will say that's very bad. Um, and let's make the 0.5. So you can change these values, see which ones make more sense, and depending on the industry and whatnot, of course, this will change. But if you're making 50% or more profit, let's say that's very good, right? Okay, so hit OK now. So right now, it it's not comparative. We are basically setting a rule that's saying, okay, minus 0.5 is the orange value, plus 0.5 is the blue value. Anything in between scale. If there's any value above this, let's say 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, whatever, they will be also blue. Anything below this minus 0.5, like minus 0.6, minus 0.7, they will be also orange. That's what this is saying, okay? So anything that falls here, if you look at this line here from orange to blue. Anything above blue is going to be blue. Anything below orange is going to be orange as well. Okay, that's Germany. Okay, let's start with this. You see, Netherlands is pretty bad right now. It makes much more sense. It's not comparative within the country. Right now we have more stable rule of comparing our values because I'm saying that, if anything minus 0.5 or below is going to be orange, and lots of cities are orange in Netherlands. And if you add Germany, I'm sorry, let's start with this. If you add Germany to this, you see it doesn't change. Still, these are bad because they were bad at the beginning as well. The coloring now makes more sense. Okay, so this is something you should also set rather than just minimum maximum value, especially if you have some filtering conditions like this where we are filtering based on the different countries. We would like to have some ground truth to compare our maps to, right? When we select the different countries, we don't want the colors continuously change based on those countries selected. We want to have a rule saying there, okay, minus 0.5 is the lowest and plus 0.5 is the highest value, and then it will scale in between after that. Okay, I hope this makes sense. This is another important thing to know, and right now our map makes much more sense. Okay, you can clearly see the bad cities not performing well. You can see the very good cities, and you can see, like Portugal is also not very good, by the way. Portugal, Ireland, Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark. I can directly see those from the city map. Let's go one level up to state level. Yeah, you see still it's now even more clear. And then of course if you go to country level, it's right there. Another thing I realized. So I decreased the size of the bubbles, which is good. You can also add some transparency here. So again, go to Format Visual Layer, Bubble Chart, Bubble Layer. Let's see, there should be, is it shape? Yeah, shape, transparency, it's at 0%. So for example, let's increase that a bit. Let's make that like 10%. It will add some transparency to these bubbles. Okay, when you zoom in now when they are on top of each other, well, 10% is not enough really. Let's go with, can I change the value here? Okay, 20%. Okay, you see there is some transparency now. Okay. Maybe 30%. Again, you should not make this too big, but just to see that there are other like bubbles behind the current bubbles. And if you zoom in further, of course they are separating out, but when you zoom out, there's kind of a bit of overlap there. So this might help a bit to see it better there. Another thing, we have this white border. Let's see. Okay, let's, for example, the width of that border around the circles, there's 2. Okay, 1 is much better. You see there's much less of a border now. If we make it 0, there shouldn't be any border at all. Yeah, I think I like this actually. This looks much more clean, right? Yeah, we don't need those borders. I will go without the borders. I like this much more. Okay. Yeah, so these are some more enhancements we can make to our figure here. This country, let's change it into a drop down. And then, see, we can select the countries and see how they look like. And as before, we can add more and more slicers here if you want. So yeah, you can add date, you can add different things to see how your customers, how your cities are performing there. So again, this is profit margin, right? If we were to do the same idea over here, okay, without adding filter, I will directly go to coloring. So this is the wrong one, right? Where we use the profit margin column. Bubble layer, colors, the rule. Okay, I already was playing with these numbers. Let's make it minus 0.5. plus 0.5. Okay. So let's see the difference between these two. Well, I also made some other changes there, so it looks a bit different now. Let's see if we can manage to see some important differences there. Some, okay. Yeah, you see, for example, over here in there should be Sicily. Yeah, that's Sicily there. These cities there, like Trapani, over here is not like kind of a bit orange, but it's towards blue, I would say. But then when you look at this one over here, it's really showing like orange. Okay. So, you can spot some differences here and there. Basically, again, we don't need to really focus on this one anymore. We understand that this is wrong. Um, okay. So again, there is no real point in going back to that. But you can see some differences. Okay, definitely there's differences. Um, so yeah, so the profit margin again is the correct one to go with. And that's what we did here. So we have updated our map, we have improved on it, we have added a filter. So we can add more filters. So, over time, how does it change, right? So let's add a filter, order date. So the data is from 2011 to 2014. So you can move this and then see how the different cities behave. And I think right now there's too much information there. So let's go with Germany, for example. So if you move towards the right there, so the more recent data, you see some cities are changing there a bit. Okay. And some cities have no or not many orders happening in the last few months, let's say. So you can do these kind of things. So this could be very useful in terms of analyzing how the sales or how the profit margin changes over time and see if there's any patterns there. Okay, so yeah, that's it for now, and see you next time then.